Hola todos, hi everyone, Carla here, your coach and trainer of NLP and host of this Metafit Metamind podcast, the place where we speakers, leaders, entrepreneurs, and influencers normalize the conversations between both physical and mental health. This is the place where you'll raise your voice and share your story. As your coach, I'm here to guide you to let go of all your limiting chains behind, and I'm on a mission to use this platform to empower and create awareness and expansion in your life. You can follow us at Metafit Metamind Podcast on my other page at Coach Carlita. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you're watching this here on YouTube, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, so I'm so excited with another episode of Metafit Metamind Podcast. It's been kind of weird coming back with uploading them, tech issues, just things have been going on, but here we are with another episode, and you're probably like, okay, Carla, what's going on? You've been podcasting since 2019, and the thing is that I just tend to create when I'm in flow. I've been learning more about human design, about how my best work comes out, and so I'm just honestly passionate about this. And yes, I don't have more than 100 episodes, but every person that I bring on, I really genuinely appreciate each of my guests and their stories that they've shared. And so, if you don't ever see me here, don't think that there's not going to be any more Metafit Metamind podcast. It's just a pause, all right? And sometimes we do need a pause. And I just appreciate you for continuing to listen to these episodes, for continuing to be subscribed to this, and just to support the channel, and also just hopefully you get some inspiration and motivation from every single person that comes on here, because it's really important for us to share our voices, share our stories, and just learn from one another. Okay, so I'm really excited because I mentioned it last time. I've been putting it on Instagram that I have been selected to be a featured speaker at this super cool event for coaches, and honestly for many, many other people. It's the Abundance Now Summit happening March 4th through the 6th, and it is the #1 online coaches summit happening in the world. And so I will be talking there about genuine connections and rapport and so many other things that have to do with being a coach and just connecting as a person. So if you are wanting to attend that, you can click on the link in the show notes to register for your free ticket, because it is just amazing, and I'm so grateful to be on here. And be ready, because I am coming for more speaking gigs, speaking engagements. I love it. I love to motivate others and inspire, and it's just fun to me. So the next thing I want to share with you is that I finally decided, and you're probably listening, you're the second to listen if you're here on the podcast, that I have finally decided to host MMA's first cohort of hypnosis certification practitioners, essentially. And I've been asked about this, and to be honest, I didn't feel aligned at the time. And so I was just kind of in a space of really figuring out what values when it comes to my business with Metafit Metamind Academy, the podcast. And so I'm really excited because this November of this 2024 year, it is happening, right? And this is a space in which you're going to be able to achieve this sweet connection between your conscious, your unconscious mind. Like, get over that hump of what is stopping you, gain some motivation, some confidence. And even if you're a coach or some kind of motivational speaker or someone in a leadership space, you'll be able to help your clients with a hypnosis breakthrough to get closer to their goals, to achieve their goals even. So super excited. Stay tuned. Keep listening for more details, because it's just, I'm just really excited about it. And if you know, when you know that as you are called to something, it is time to answer that call. I think that's it for announcements for now, since I'm just really excited for you to listen. There's an event that I'm hosting with Women Who Work, which you'll be listening about that probably in this episode. So be aware and stay tuned for that. So again, remember to share this podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, Apple, Google, Castbox, wherever, and here on YouTube. So now let's get on and talk about my amazing guest. So in this episode, I finally had the pleasure and the opportunity to speak to my good friend, Ashton Lynne Rondon. She is someone who I met back in October of 2021. And at that event that I went, because it was her event, I just felt this calling, this pull to speak with her and say, hey, I would really love to just have a conversation, see how we can connect and see what's up. And since then, we truly have built a super powerful connection. She's been an amazing friend. She's a powerful, powerful entrepreneur. She's a mama. She's showing her baby, her kid, about creating that life that you desire. And she is just someone that I think most of us or all of us should learn from. I feel like she's one of those like super great strategic entrepreneurs that knows how she does well and where her gifts are, and really someone who's a great leader. So she's just someone who's inspired me and pushed me too. She's kicked my ass in different areas of business, and I appreciate that so much. So I don't want to say more. I want you to listen to her story and just listen to it and enjoy the episode. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back to Metafit Metamind podcast. I'm really, really excited about today's episode because I have someone really special on here. We've been talking about getting her on for a while. She is a good friend of mine, Ashton Lynne Rondon. We met through a connection, a event she actually did a few years ago. I kind of went to that. And then from there, we just kind of created this really cool connection, collaborations, things like that. She's an amazing, amazing person that I think has a cool story on how she's gotten to this place. So, Ashton, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. We have talked about this for a while, so I'm really excited that it's finally happening.
Personally, I think we've rescheduled too many times. So,
Yeah, if we're gonna be honest.
yeah, so I talked to people earlier about like thinking about, like that's what we were doing. And we were like, nope, we're doing it today. Awesome.
Today.
So, I'm really excited because, like I said, you got something powerful to share and for others to get motivation and inspiration on here. So, the first thing that I want to ask you is some people's favorite questions, some people's maybe tricky question. Who is Ashton?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Ashton is, first a human, number one, a human. And then outside of that, I am a woman, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wife. There's so many things that go into who I am, and I could say that what I love most about Ashton is that at the end of the day, I love to have fun. I love good vibes. I love hanging out with great, good people and eating good food. I just love living, and being in peace and living a fulfilled life.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and it's not something that just comes to you to one, I should say, just like that. So I'm curious, what's been your journey? Like, what's that journey that you want to share with us that has brought you to this Ashton who loves herself, who loves to have fun, who is a wife, a mom, and just this entrepreneurial, powerful queen that she is.
Love that. Queen, yes. Being able to actually accept
Yeah,
that I am
accept
a
it.
queen in this world, it didn't come easy because my journey, I grew up in a single parent household. I had to figure out how to do a lot of things because my mom was always working. So I had to put myself through college. Nothing was handed to me like financially. And I had just a lot of things to figure out in life. And I did great with that because I was smart. I knew how to get results. I knew how to connect with the right people. And so I built a lot of success in my career. I have a bachelor's in public relations and a minor in business. So that allowed me to work with national, international companies and create really great results for them. But what really changed for me was when I got pregnant with my son, and I was just like, well, Ashton, one day you're gonna tell him, hey, you can live your best life, your greatest life, you can do whatever you want. And if you're not living that, he's not gonna believe you. You can give him all these examples, but what better example than his own mom? And so that was a very pivotal part in my journey because I set off to really prove that and to live the life that I actually have now.
So in that process, I guess, I think just personally, just from recent experience, just becoming a mom just changes pretty much everything. And people tell you this all the time. Like, oh yeah, once you become a mom or a parent, you're gonna understand. But it's so interesting in this entrepreneurial space too that you've been in, because you went and you got your degree and you actually used it compared to many people. We go to
Yes.
school and we don't really use it, and you've built this for yourself. So with this degree and everything, and then having your kid, like, what started to be like that thought process of, going towards this direction, your purpose that you're moving towards?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I agree when you have a child, it does change everything. And for me, I didn't expect to be a single mom most of the time.
Mm.
My child's father and I split for good when he was one. So not only was I trying to manage myself and my dreams and keeping this kid alive,
Mhm.
I had to, manage all of that, doing it a lot on my own. And although my child's father has been a part of his life. He's a part of his life. He does help me a lot, which I'm appreciative. But still, on those days when he wasn't there until I got married, those are hard days. But I would say what really pushed me was just to show him that, that knowing that one day he's gonna ask me that question, and ask me the question of, Mom, why didn't you live out your dreams or accomplish your dreams? Or, wow, Mom, you did it, and how did you do it? And I wanted to be able to tell him, hey, baby, this is how I did it. So that was just a major, major push for me.
Yeah, and I think that's so it's a thought that I now can be like, okay, my kid's gonna one day ask me this question, and even my stepson sees how much his dad works, how I work, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I can do this." And right now actually it's funny. I don't know if it's like he's seeing it or the way his dad works, but at school they have this I know this has nothing to do with your story, but I just thought it was funny. They're doing that fundraiser with the world's finest chocolates. I don't know if you ever did that fundraiser. And so they have to sell out these boxes of chocolates. And he sees this like grand prize, and the kid's motivated. He's like on it. He's been going around houses. And I'm like, huh, like where did he get this entrepreneurial mind from? Right. And maybe he sees me come like where I get to work from home. I get to create this stuff. His dad also is a little bit of that. He's a leader in his own way. And so yesterday I actually asked him, I said, "Hey Alex, how are you doing compared to like the other students?" He's like, "I don't know." He's like, "I'm just worried about my business." And it's really cool that you started to focus, in that, like, for you, it's like you've connected that, and your kid's gonna be able to see that example, and you'll be able to show him, this is how I did it, Bray. This is what I've done. It wasn't handed to me. So I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, like my son, especially, another pivotal point was when COVID happened because
Mm,
I do feel like I was able to hide a lot of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and just yeah,
mm.
that life. But when COVID happened, I was like, oh crap, like mommy's not having a good day. I'm gonna
Oh,
cry. And I had to
yeah.
show my son, he got to see the behind the scenes work. And he understood it,
Yeah.
and then that really helped me too because he was, when I'm having my days or we're really not days. I don't have days of
Me
being down,
neither.
but moments, moments. He's able to just see the inner workings, and I was able to take him to a speaking engagement that I had. And he actually helped pass out papers, and he went with me,
Oh.
and I was just like, Bray, this is my dream to do this, to
Mhm.
speak at my university, which is the University of Texas, um, and I spoke at the Kendra Scott Institute, and he was there, and he saw me, and we have the picture of it. And then
Yeah.
I released some workbooks last year, and he saw me build them. Like from
Mhm.
he saw me work so hard, and I was like, "Great, this is on Amazon," and he was
Mhm.
just like, "Whoa!" So he's intrigued by it, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I could show him my success
Yeah.
because he knows that he can do it.
Yeah. I think that's cool that he's seeing those examples and actually got to hear you too. I was there and I thought that was really cool that like you see this little 9, 10-year-old at the time seeing his mom just teach this group of people, and what success looks like and being an influence and a motivator to others. And, the one question I have that I don't know that we've touched on yet is, you've wanted to build this dream of yours to show your son, to show your family, to do this for yourself. And you haven't shared this, but I'm just gonna, because I know you. you came from the corporate space. So like what has been like that changer that got you to leave that space, but also like what's the difference? So two questions essentially in this one is like what's that like difference? What got you out in this process?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And so I can say that I started working when I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
and I started working at Chuck E. Cheese, which is interesting. I was not, well, actually, a couple of times I was the mouse, Chucky,
Uh-huh.
but so I did start with, kind of in a corporate space, but in college, I met a woman that was an entrepreneur, and I started working with her, and she's like, no, we're not meeting in the office. You work from home. And I was like, oh, really? So
What?
I got that taste of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Oh,
She
wow.
traveled the
I didn't know this.
world, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome. And so after college, I tried to go to corporate America. I went for a year and I was just like, screw this, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And so my first like 4 years out of college, I was just an entrepreneur having my marketing clients. And then when I had Braden,
Mm-hmm.
after I had him, I stayed home with him the first year, still in entrepreneurship. But then I went back to corporate America for 4 years. And that was my longest 4 year stint in
Wow.
corporate America. And I left because, well, I still had my side gigs because I was just like entrepreneur. I'm just an entrepreneur. I love
Yeah,
making
it's
that
there.
schedule, having control over my money, no limits
Mm-hmm.
on my potential. And so I left because there was just a lot of management issues that I didn't agree with, and that was in 2017. And I have been on my own again since, and that just speaks to the power of knowing what I can do and believing in myself that I can achieve, my goals, not
Yeah.
only just things that align with my purpose, but also my financial goals.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really cool to hear about like just by chance in a way, a little bit of like I don't know if people believe this kind of a little bit of the universe kind of give you this little like taste of it and you're like, "Yep, this is what I'm supposed to be doing." You went back to the thing and you're like, "Yeah." You can really like it's kind of like a second opinion in a way. Yes, this is not for me, right? You got to go and explore different options in entrepreneurship, especially. It's like, do it, oh, get the feedback, that didn't work out. All right. And so, in that process, too, like when you had to go back to corporate, and you just mentioned that it's like this power of belief. I think recently I've been having conversations about this power of belief. You know, I think it's so key in your mindset and in this process with having that belief in yourself. As you've gone on this journey, here's my question. That correlation between mental and physical health and that belief, how has that played out in your life and your business and this entrepreneurship journey, but not just for the entrepreneurship's sake, but for Ashton?
That's a good question. I really, for me, health is really important.
Mhm.
And, and just to put this out there, I think that people that work in corporate America, if you can make that work for you, that's awesome. Honestly, I was in the best shape of my life or at post Braden, in
Post
corporate
braid?
America because I could cut off
Uh-huh.
post
Uh-huh.
Braden, best shape of life, because I could go to the gym. I could just manage my schedule better. And I was able to build a relationship with my husband in another country because I was in corporate America. I had that steady stream of revenue
Yeah.
coming in. I could take my my PTO days.
Yeah.
I definitely have had some benefits of being in corporate America.
Mhm.
But with entrepreneurship, I love the flexibility of it and having accountability for myself and not having to I guess play, not even just play small, but I just have more control over my life.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I answered your question. You may have to ask that second question again because
Yeah, just that correlation between, like you said, you really see the importance in your health. And, I think this is something you do really great is that self-care and how that plays a part in your mental and your physical health.
yeah, so self-care is really important. And I love, as part of being an entrepreneur, a benefit is that I can start my day when I want to.
Mhm.
So I actually wake up earlier as an entrepreneur, not so much to just start working on client work. Sometimes that does happen,
Yeah.
but because I like to get my mindset ready.
Hmm.
And so entrepreneurship helps, in my experience, has helped me more with with my self-care. because
Yeah.
I can take more breaks throughout the day. If I want to go take a nap right after this call, I can,
Yeah.
and that correlation and being able to take care of myself and also knowing my limits, understanding, my boundaries and because the health is not just your physical health, it's your emotional health, it's, your spiritual health. So I do feel like I've been able to like have create a good whole health for myself as an
Nice.
entrepreneur that I don't think that I wasn't able to do it while being in corporate.
I like how you said that whole health, it's not just one or the other, it's the health overall, which I think is important to remember. And I'm just going to say I'm not a doctor, she's not either, but this is just our own personal experience. How I feel like I've actually taken from your example or a little bit of like your habits to do a little more self-care for me because in the past when I was in corporate America, I just got so down at some point. This was a pattern that I had to like leave jobs constantly. I didn't know why. And then my mental health would take a hit. And then as a result, like my weight has fluctuated, right? And for a while. And so now as a mom, like, okay, that's something I'm working on. But it's interesting how not being happy in a space can really affect the mind that then will affect the body because something that I always remind people is what you tell your mind will then tell your body and your body will do. So it's really cool that you are very good and it's almost I think I don't know, maybe it's tell me if I'm wrong or not. It's like it's almost a non-negotiable for you.
Oh, you're not wrong. It's a non-negotiable for me because I remember when I wasn't taking care of my whole health. And that's why I decided, hold on, like it's not just my physical health because I'll go to the gym all the time. If I just have to focus on going to the gym, hey, for me, that's easy. If I just have to focus on gym and eating, oh, I'm good. But that's not there's way more to it. What am I doing for my emotional health? So I have different journals. Like right now, I have my, blank journal, and I have about three other or four other journals that I'm using because I love to just really be able to dive deep into what's really going on with myself. And it's not that I'm obsessing over it because, I was actually looking at one of my journals before we started speaking.
Yeah.
It's actually called my desire journal where I write down things that I want. And I was just
Oh,
like crossing off things on my list. And I haven't
yeah.
opened this in like probably 3 weeks, but I have created a system where I can manage my life. And I don't feel bad that I haven't opened this in 3 weeks. Like that's fine. I know how to show myself compassion, which is also very important when it comes to self-care.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. I love that self-care thing. So, you know, she's got some really cool things. So here's my next question for you is what are you excited about? Like what are like what's happening in Ashton's world? What are like goals that you have coming for this like next quarter, this year? Like what do you want to share with us about what you are bringing? Because I know about it, but my audience doesn't.
Yes. Thank you so much for asking. I'm super excited. I've been working really, really, really hard the last 3 years on a rebrand for Women Who Work. So just a little backstory. Women
Tell
Who
me
Work
about women who
started
work too.
yeah. So Women Who Work started with workshops and networking events, and then we grew to summits, and then we grew to an award show. And then when COVID hit, honestly, I felt really bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do all of these in-person things right now. And I didn't have the tools and resources from Women Who Work to be able to service my community. So I set off to just really hone a method that I created called the self work method. And now with that, I am able to provide online, in person, and offline events because I want to meet my clients where they're at. So Women Who Work is all about helping women with their transformation process, and that's so important because in the day and age that we're in right now, women have so many things on their plate. They're playing all these roles, wearing all these hats,
Mm.
and there needs to be more compassion and structure around women being able to create the life that they want. And I've been able to do that, and it wasn't easy. I've spent, like I started in 2008, really, starting that process. But because I had the right networks, I found the right support, I read the right books. Now
Mm-hmm.
I want to share all of these things. I've packaged them all up into several
Yeah.
different aspects, and I'm going to share them. So, first up, we have our Manifestivities Vision Board Party experience on February 28th.
I'll be there.
Then we have our launch party of the Queendom Academy on March 8th. And then we have a couple other things in the works that will be announced in March. So yeah, so much is going on, and I'm just so excited to be able to offer all of these things.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is really exciting. And we're gonna share in the notes like all the info and stuff. So here's an important question that I think, because I love people sharing what they're doing and the goals. So in this process of you creating this that you've created, it's really powerful. And one thing I'll say that she didn't say in her about part or in her story is that Ashton's a great strategist. Like, she's really good with giving you strategy and like implementing as well. So if this is something that you need help with, definitely hit her up. And so in this process, what's a key piece that has helped you get to this point that you can share with somebody else?
That's a great question, and thank you so much for for the plug. Um, you know, I think I've pondered on this question
Uh-huh.
because being someone who didn't come with all of these tools and resources, who didn't come from an environment that breeds the person that I am,
Mhm.
um, people like me, where I come from, a few people end up in the space that I'm in today, and it was just it's my really believing in what I wanted, but also having clarity and getting
Yeah.
clear on what I wanted. And it's taken me years to build this. It definitely it didn't happen overnight. I wish it did, but being able to pivot and
Mm.
learn lessons and accept
Yeah.
those lessons, whether I agreed with them or not. Um, not, being optimistic and constantly moving forward in the best way that I knew how,
Mhm.
that's how I've ended up here.
Yeah. So pivoting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Taking
I love it.
rest, taking rest.
Pivot and take a rest, do the self-care thing, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that's been a huge part of why you've been able to be an entrepreneur for this long?
Yes, because I mean, I I was introduced into entrepreneurship in 2007. That's a
Wow.
long time ago.
Yeah.
And I would say having the right mentors. Like, my
Yeah.
mentor was really awesome, and I learned and I soaked up everything. And I
Mhm.
literally stayed with her on and off, but it was from
Mhm.
2007, and I even worked with her last year on a couple of projects.
Yeah.
So that's a long time to be in a mentorship. And
Yeah.
being curious, being a lifelong learner,
Mhm.
knowing just how to navigate and learning more about people, and
Yeah.
all of that went into the success of being and I went back and got more certifications in
Mhm.
2022.
Mhm.
So um yeah, always knowing that growth, I'm always growing.
Mhm.
What's new. And I
Yeah.
do equate some of that to being a marketer, because as a marketer, with algorithms, you always have to stay on top of things.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my success does come from the mind frame of a marketer. Absolutely, for
Oh,
sure.
cool. I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, that's why you have these trends and you know what's coming, and then I'm like, oh yeah, she was so right. So
Yeah.
awesome. I'm really, really excited that you finally got to share your story, a little bit about your journey, because in these episodes, it's not we can't always do them all at once. So it wouldn't surprise me if you and I were to do another one later on, just on other topics and just continuing the story of where we're at, right? So for now, like for people to like go and get your products and get into manifestivities even, or learn about the future ones that are upcoming, or any collaborations that maybe you and I do. Where can people follow you?
Yay. So that's a great question. So the best way to connect with me is on my website, which is Women Who Work, and that is WERK,
Mm-hmm.
work, because, and for me, work is all about doing the work on yourself. So
Yeah.
we're on Instagram, and that's Women Who Work HQ.
Okay.
And we are on TikTok as well, Women Who Work HQ as well.
Cool.
And I'm on LinkedIn, Ashton Lynne,
Hmm.
and those
And
are
then,
just really my website is where you can find
cool.
everything.
Cool. So I'll share all the links in the show notes for any of you that want to go talk to Ashton if you're ready to like set up your strategies for success, for being the successful women entrepreneur that you want to be. For Ashton to literally like, this may not sound nice, but she actually does a lot of this. Would love to slap it in your face. Like, this is a strategy, implement this because it's gonna work. It's worked for me so far. So, and like I said, she does it with love. So go follow her. Go to Women Who Work. So it's Women Who Work, WERKHQ on Instagram and TikTok. Go follow her on LinkedIn. Send her a message. And so, Ashton, I really, really, really am so like, finally, we did this. We finally got it done. Thank you so much for being on here, for sharing a little bit of your journey. Like I said, I'm super grateful to you and all the work that you're doing. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you. And we'll see each other soon. And thank you everyone to listen, who listened to this episode. I'm excited to connect with you. And yeah, thank you.
Cool. That was a really cool and fun episode that I have recorded, especially with a friend and someone who I collaborate so much with. And she's someone who has pushed me. Ashton is just really, I don't know. I just think she's a cool, genuine person who really gives her heart to what she's doing. And yeah, and I realized too that in the previous episodes, I didn't do this. What I got from the episode, and I just wanted to share just a little bit about what I learned from this. One is that when you are in the space of really being aligned for yourself and you're moving into what you're wanting to do, self-care is truly important. To not burn yourself out, to just do the things to help you in your health and in your wealth, because if you don't, you're going to end up not well and not wanting to go and continue to do that thing that you're pursuing. So it's really important for you to be able to take care of yourself so you can take care of that which you're creating. The second thing that I learned was that if you learn to pivot, that already has flexibility in your life, in your business, and the things that you're creating. And you're going to be able to be a student now and always, because you're always going to be learning from those pivots, from things that you have to change in your life. So let me know what you learned in this episode, if you were inspired, if it's getting you to go and do that thing that you've been thinking about that aligns with yourself. And the last thing I'm going to say is I really appreciate you listening or watching this episode with Ashton. Hopefully you got a lot of little nuggets within there, because there's more than just these couple things that I got. And so make sure to go follow me at Metafit Metamind Podcast, on my other page at Coach Carlita. Go rate, review, subscribe in Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and like and subscribe here on YouTube. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. My name is Carla Rodriguez, and remember to always raise your voice and share your story. Till next time.